Discovering the sacred truth, miraculous insights into Satan's role in God's transforming plan. In the land of Uz, during the reign of Jehoiakim, there lived a man named Job, a blameless and upright man who feared God and turned away from evil. His deep devotion to Yahweh was the foundation of his life, the source of his wealth, and the joy of a household filled with laughter. 7 sons and 3 daughters shared in the blessings that flowed like a river from the Almighty. Job's flocks grazed in lush pastures, his land yielded abundantly, and he was honored among the people for his integrity and righteousness, a true beacon of faith amidst a world teetering on the edge of uncertainty. Yet, in the celestial courts, the accuser known as Satan wandered the earth, seeking entry into the discussions that shape the fates of mankind. Before the throne of God, a heavenly gathering unfolded, and the Lord beamed with pride as he spoke of Job. "Have you considered my servant Job? There is none like him on the earth." But with a wicked smirk, Satan challenged. "Does Job fear God for no reason? You have blessed him abundantly and protected him. Remove your hedge, and he will surely curse you." With permission granted from the Most High, Satan unleashed chaos upon Job's once serene life. The winds of fate shifted violently, and in a matter of moments, Job's world crumbled. Swift messengers brought terrible tidings: his oxen stolen, his sheep devoured by fire, and a fierce wind collapsed the house where his beloved children feasted together. Heart aching, Job fell to the ground, tears flowing freely as he worshipped in the depths of his grief, exclaiming, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." Days turned dark and heavy with sorrow, and yet, the storm of affliction had only just begun. Job's body became a canvas for torment, his skin covered in painful sores. As his suffering deepened, his wife, witnessing the agony that consumed him, urged, "Curse God and die." Yet Job remained resolute, his faith unyielding amidst the chaos. "Shall we receive good from God, and shall we not receive evil?" he replied, a testament to the integrity of his spirit. In the depths of his sorrow, 3 friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, came to sit with him in silence. They mourned for 7 days, sharing in Job's grief, but their silence soon shattered, and their words became accusations. "Is not your fear of God your confidence? Have you not sinned?" Their theologies clashed with Job's truth, intensifying the debate, as they suggested suffering was the result of hidden sin. As the debates raged, desperation seized Job. "Why did I not perish at birth?" he cried, a heartache echoing into the heavens. The cosmic weight of his suffering beckoned divine attention. Just then, a whirlwind swept through the air, stirring the heavens, as God prepared to respond. What truths awaited from the Almighty? What revelation would answer Job's anguished cries? Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As the whirlwind howled, God's voice emerged from the storm, ready to unveil the sacred truths woven into Job's trial. The stages of faith would collide with divine will, and Job's journey would illuminate the profound depths of trust in God's greater plan. What would the Almighty declare? How would this profound encounter reshape the very foundation of Job's understanding of suffering, righteousness, and divine purpose? The moment of revelation loomed on the horizon, inviting all into the depths of its mystery. Then the Lord spoke out of the whirlwind, his voice resounding like thunder in the silence of the night. "Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man, I will question you, and you shall answer me." The sound of the divine rebuke set a tremor through Job's heart, as he understood he was in the presence of the Almighty. "Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding." The Lord continued, each syllable a reminder of the vast expanse of creation that lay beyond Job's comprehension. The celestial realms bent toward the earth, and stars flickered in profound reverence. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk? The questions fell like heavy stones, each one cutting deeper into Job's spirit, revealing the glory and might of the Creator. Job felt small, a mere speck in the grand design of the universe. The Lord unfolded the wonders of nature before Job, detailing the mysteries of the sea, the intricacies of creation, the fierce strength of wild beasts, and the majestic flight of the ostrich. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place? Each question echoed a lesson, leading Job to a profound realization, nudging his heart from despair to awe. Is it by your understanding that the hawk soars, and spreads its wings toward the south? Dress yourself in majesty and splendor. Clothe yourself in glory and honor, for if you can do these things, then I will acknowledge your ability. The rhetorical powerfulness of the Lord's discourse pierced through Job's pride and self-righteousness. In the depths of his suffering, Job began to see not merely the darkness that surrounded him, but the light of God's profound majesty. I am not worthy. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer. Twice, but I will say no more. Job finally responded, humbled by the revelation and the weight of his inadequacy. Yet God was not finished. The Lord continued, Will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. Job's heart quaked, for it was a challenge he could not endure. His friends watched in awe and fear. They had sought to question Job's integrity but now stood before the might of God's wisdom, recognizing their own frailty in the face of divine authority. As centers of the universe turned, Job realized he had been chosen not just to suffer, but to be an instrument of learning for all generations. The trials had woven a tapestry of truths far beyond his understanding, revealing the sovereignty that prevailed even amidst pain. In that moment, Job's heart was transformed. The righteousness he clung to was swallowed by an overwhelming revelation of God's grace, a grace that called him to trust in a wisdom he could not comprehend. And then the Lord spoke once more. Pray for your friends. I will accept your prayer, and not deal with them according to their folly. The poised invitation rang in Job's heart, illuminating the very essence of redemption and forgiveness. What justifications would arise in Job's heart, and how would this newfound humility affect his life thereafter? The richness of God's plan extended far beyond this moment. What destinies were at stake, waiting to unfold? For indeed, the wheels of divine purpose were turning, and the echoes of this moment would resound throughout eternity. What awaited Job in the chapters yet unwritten in the scroll of his life? Then the Lord continued his magnificent revelation, drawing Job deeper into the mysteries of his creation. Have you entered the storehouses of the snow, or seen the storehouses of the hail, which I have reserved for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war? The voice of the Almighty resonated, weaving threads of understanding through Job's perplexity, revealing the purpose behind every storm and tempest. From whose womb did the ice come forth, and who has given birth to the frost of heaven? As the context of divine authority enveloped Job, he began to perceive the intricate balance held within the cosmos. Light and darkness, warmth and cold, all at the beck and call of their Creator. Job trembled at the sheer magnitude of God's omnipotence. Job's spirit stirred with newfound humility, and he pondered over the very essence of suffering as the Lord continued, Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades, or loose the cords of Orion? Can you lead forth the Mazzaroth in their season, or guide the bear with its cubs? As questions echoed through the depths of his heart, Job felt a stirring beneath his grief, a dawning realization that perhaps, in the orchestration of the universe, there was a harmony in his own anguish. Do you know the ordinances of the heavens? Can you set their dominion over the earth? Job sensed the piercing truth within these inquiries, the unfathomable wisdom behind God's dealings with man. His understanding shifted, revealing that man's suffering was not without purpose but was woven into the grand narrative written by the hand of the Almighty. Shall the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? If you indeed can answer all these questions, then speak. But if ignorance overlays your heart, listen and I will teach you, the Lord proclaimed, inviting Job not just to witness, but to learn. In that divine moment, all the rebuke melted away into an offer of revelation. With tremors in his heart, Job felt compelled to respond, "I am unworthy. What can I say? I lay my hand upon my mouth. Once I have spoken, but I have no answer. Twice, but I will say no more." And yet, amidst the humility, an ember of hope stirred within. In response, God asked again, "Would you discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify yourself?" These words deepened Job's yearning for understanding, facing the stark reality of questioning God's purpose. Yet, as the clouds of doubt began to clear, Job realized the pivotal role of humility in his relationship with the Creator. "Listen now to my voice. I will speak. Let me show you my understanding," Job murmured, confronting the very essence of faith and reason that had once conflicted within him. Then, the Lord unfolded a new layer of revelation. "But what of the adversary? Have you considered my servant Job? For in him is an example of endurance through trials, a testament to refining faith. Even the adversary roams seeking whom he may devour. Yet, look upon Job, how he has upheld his integrity." Job's heart trembled at the mention of the accuser. The enemy had not only sought to ensnare him in despair, but had unwittingly become part of God's plan for greater purpose and glory. In his suffering lay the seeds of redemption not only for himself but for those who would witness the unfolding testament of faith. "In my infinite wisdom, I weave trials into triumphs, and the wicked one may act, but his actions serve my sovereign purpose. Do you see how even in the depths of darkness, light springs forth?" The Lord's voice carried an eternal weight, filling Job with the awe of divine orchestration. Thus, Job, standing renewed in perspective, felt the ripple of God's purpose in his life, recognizing that a story more profound than his suffering was being told. As the fabric of fate unfurled, he understood, the culmination of his trials was merely a thread in the exquisite tapestry of God's sovereign plan. What divine mysteries would unravel, heralding the unfolding of salvation and restoration in a world awaiting redemption? What would God's grand narrative reveal next, binding time and eternity? Then the Lord continued to speak, calling forth the depths of Job's heart. "Have you comprehended the breadth of the earth? Declare, if you know it all." The weight of divine inquiry stirred within Job, inviting him not merely to engage in dialogue, but to immerse himself wholly in the mysteries intended for those faithful and suffering. "Where is the way to the dwelling of light? And darkness, where is its place?" As God's voice echoed through the bounds of the night, Job was lifted from despair into a divine illumination. The heavens bore witness, and clarity stirred within him. The elegance of creation spoke to God's unfathomable wisdom, yet, the complexities of his own circumstance loomed over him. Moreover, the Lord continued, "Can you bind the sweet influences of the Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Can you bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Or can you guide Arcturus with his sons?" Each celestial inquiry deepened Job's awe, revealing that his turmoil was but a ripple in God's vast cosmic plan. The stars sang of God's glory, and Job realized that even in this immense scale, he was not forsaken. Job's heart felt heavy, for he understood the fragility of the human experience. "Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer you? I will lay mine hand upon my mouth," he professed, wrestling with the significance of his existence in light of the Almighty's eternity. Yet God, in his omniscience, beckoned him with mercy, weaving grace through communal suffering. "Open your eyes to see, Job, consider the wonders I have set before you. The rain falls upon the just and the unjust. Does the hawk fly by your wisdom, or stretch her wings toward the south?" The question pierced through Job's defenses, unveiling the simplicity and complexity of God's providence. He pondered the commonality of creation and how God engages every creature, beckoning them into their intended purpose. As revelation unfolded, the Lord continued, "Shall I give to you an answer for your tribulations? Or shall I darken the counsel of my wisdom?" Job trembled. The weight of God's inquiry held him captive. To demand answers was a perilous venture into the unknown, yet he felt a radiant hope ignited within his spirit. "Indeed, look at the behemoth, which I made with you. He eats grass as an ox. Behold now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. As God described the mighty creature, Job began to glimpse the divine intention with which each being was fashioned. It was a silent declaration of God's power that calmed tumultuous hearts, including his own. What can man do but marvel at his Creator? What understanding can he perceive but what I, the Lord, reveal? At that moment, waves of faith surged through Job, igniting a spark of realization that his sufferings were intertwined with the very essence of creation's groan for redemption. The Lord then beckoned, "Shall I expose the workings of the adversary before you? For in his rebellion, I have made a way of victory through your trust." Job's heart swelled as he recognized that even the trials laid before him served to highlight the glory of God's redemptive work. Job's spirit reverberated with awe, for profound truths cascaded around him like living water. In the midst of adversity, he grasped that God had not turned away in silence but had woven a narrative beyond human understanding. Thus God beckoned him into deeper mysteries, revealing hidden layers of his purpose. "The encompassing darkness shall yield to my light, for what seems as despair may be the birthing ground of hope and restoration." As Job embraced the depth of divine revelation, he realized that the full scope of God's sovereign plan was yet to unfold, with mysteries awaiting the dawn of comprehension. What would come next in the sacred journey? And how would the tapestry of suffering lead to unimagined grace and miraculous transformation? Then the Lord spoke again, with the voice of thunder drawing near to Job. "Will you disannul my judgment? Will you condemn me that you may be righteous?" Job felt the weight of divine authority pressing down upon him, as truth and mercy intertwined before his very eyes. The heavens seemed to hold their breath in anticipation, for God's purpose was revealed through the clouds of adversity. Have you an arm like God? Or can you thunder with a voice like Him? The potency of each question pulsated through Job's depths. His heart trembled, understanding all too well that the power of the Almighty was beyond his grasp. In a moment of stark clarity, Job began to comprehend that the unfolding of his sufferings was not merely a sequence of misfortunes but a canvas on which God painted his divine artistry. "Deck yourself now with majesty and excellency, and array yourself with glory and beauty," God continued, the fervor of his words drenching Job's spirit. "Cast abroad the rage of your wrath, and behold every one that is proud, and abase him." The fiery call to action echoed ceaselessly in Job's mind, for he recognized that true majesty belonged to God alone. Faced with such greatness, he glimpsed the folly of human pride and misunderstanding. In the quiet pause that followed, God unleashed yet another revelation, a glimpse into both the nature of creation and the intricate dance of good and evil. "Look now at the behemoth, which I made with you. He eats grass like an ox. Yet, behold, his strength is in his loins, and his power is in the muscles of his belly." This great creature testified of God's creation, a relation Job could scarcely fathom. "The mountains bring him forth food, wherein all the beasts of the field play," God elucidated. "He leath under the shady trees, in the covert of the reed, and in the fen." Job began to see that even in the mighty beast, there was a purpose designed within the parameters of God's providence. Shall we consider, then, what the adversary seeks within the hearts of men? God inquired, for in this sacred moment, there was a cause for contemplation concerning the trials that Job faced. "Look closely, for not all that is fierce is intended for destruction, nor is all that appears weak devoid of purpose. In your suffering, my hand is wielded to orchestrate victory." And as God paused, Job pondered that the struggles he endured were, perhaps, the battlegrounds where faith and darkness collided. "Does the adversary not play his part, cast in the theater of my eternal plan? For I have seen him, and I allow his rage to reveal the steadfastness of the believer." In this hour, Job began to understand the profound intricacies woven within his trials. The accusations of the adversary thought to be the cause of strife revealed a deeper, divine narrative at work, one that heralded blessings withheld from those who had yet to believe. The realization surged through him, awakening hope where despair had taken root. Suddenly, God raised his voice in a crescendo. "With thee, Job, I weave wonder and understanding together. For every affliction brings forth character, and in every trial lies fortitude." Steeped in awe, Job fell silent before the Lord, wrestling with incubating thoughts of a grander purpose laid out by God's sovereign hand. The dawn will come, and with it, revelation chosen for my faithful, God declared, the echoes of his voice framing Job's heart with newfound expectancy. As Job absorbed these revelations, he sensed the unseen strings of cosmic order binding him in fellowship with both creation and the Creator, a unity that stirred anticipation of what lay before him. For as trials unfolded, they did not herald defeat, but the very unfolding of God's eternal purpose. Yet, in the dim shadows of his understanding, Job felt a stirring of impatience, for if such suffering could yield such glory, what awaited him in the journey yet to unfold? What facets of divine grace and mystery held the promise of future revelation? The weight of God's sovereign plan beckoned him into the unknown. In this pivotal moment, the dawn of hope was not simply for Job but hinted at a broader design in God's eternal story, a story leading to transformation that would ripple through the ages. And thus, a sacred truth lingered. The heart of God beats with fervent intention through the tapestry of suffering, whispering to each willing spirit, your trials serve a greater story. Stand firm. The end of your journey is yet to be revealed. Then the Lord continued to speak, the very air vibrating with his presence. Will you now turn your gaze toward the movements of the heavens? Have you observed how they declare my majesty? Do they not remind you that all creation responds to my command? Job, still in reverence, felt the weight of those words, for they stirred within him the memory of the stars that had shone bright in the night sky, unyielding against the darkness. Indeed, O Lord, he murmured, your creation is marvelous beyond measure. Then consider the wild goat upon the mountains, God instructed, his voice ringing with authority and care. You see how they climb to heights seemingly unreachable, and yet they rely on my provision. Same as they, my faithful ones must tread the paths set before them, trusting in my hand even when it is unseen. Job inhaled deeply, drawing strength from the lesson woven within the nature surrounding him. In that moment, he began to perceive the cadence of divine oversight in every aspect of his life. The wild goat wandered freely, yet was tethered by dependence on its creator. Do you mark the time of their birth? God inquired, almost tenderly. Or do you witness their exuberance in the fields? Even in their frolicking, they embody a truth. There is joy in the allowance of my will. So too, in your trials, there exists a purpose in your unfolding. Job's heart resonated with this profound truth. Each moment of anguish now appeared as a heartstring connecting him more intimately with the God of all creation. Every groan of despair became a note in the symphony of God's ultimate plan. Job, God beckoned once more, speak now. What can you fathom of the clouds, or the wonders wrapped within them? They are my messengers, cupping the rain, holding forth the promise of nourishment for the earth. Job contemplated the sky's vastness, and realized that if such things as the weather existed under divine governance, then surely his every sorrow was also held tenderly by God's wisdom. I am but a man, he confessed, yet I desire to understand these mysteries. The voice of the Lord surged forth, vibrant like a river in flood. From whence cometh wisdom? And where is the place of understanding? Do you know where light dwells, setting it apart for our darkest hour? Remember, my plans are immutable and cover all the dimensions of time. What a depth of grace surrounds your every decree, murmured Job, stirred by the realization that even through his suffering, God was orchestrating a narrative of triumph. May your will be at work within me, O Lord. There exists a horizon beyond your sight, Job, God declared, his voice imbued with authority and tenderness. You have felt the sting of loss, yet I speak of restoration. Through your anguish, others shall find their path illuminated. For in the flames of trial, faith is refined as gold. The weight of this truth descended upon Job like a mantle, and in that moment, he understood that his afflictions were not in vain. They were the tools of God's transformational power. The lives of many would step into the light drawn by his enduring faith, even as he tread his dark path. Remember, dear servant, God spoke as the sun began to set, casting a golden glow across the horizon. My covenant with you stands unwavering. What you suffer now reveals a testimony yet to be spoken. The echoes of your resilience shall resonate far and wide. As these revelations settled upon him, Job felt a surge of hope manifest within the depths of his soul. There lingered an expectation, a whisper of something greater yet to unfold. What greater designs lie ahead for your faithful, O Lord? What wonders of your hand remain unexamined? Cling to this truth, Job, God assured him. The odyssey of your heart is intertwined with the testimony of my people. Their deliverance shall echo through your story. Await the unfolding of my sovereign will, for it shall be glorious. And as silence cloaked them, Job stood trembling yet resolute, a man caught in the tension between suffering and the promise that awaited him. For in that sacred night's embrace lingered the expectation of divine revelation, a reminder that God's plan unfolded not just for him, but for destinies yet unimagined. The dawn would break, and with it would come the fullness of knowledge, a sacred truth sending ripples of hope across time. What greater wisdom held for him in the coming chapters of sorrow turned to joy? The fullness of God's purpose lay just beyond the horizon, awaiting the faithful heart to journey onward into the unknown. Then, in the hush of the dawn, the Lord spoke again, his voice like the gentle rustling of leaves. Job, do you see the light that begins to pour forth upon the earth? It is a reminder of my unyielding promise, that even the darkest night must yield to the dawn. In this light, there is revelation and purpose waiting to be unveiled. Job turned his gaze toward the east, where the first light pierced the horizon, casting shadows away and revealing the beauty of the land once shrouded in night. What do you wish to teach me, O Lord? He whispered, heart beating steadily with a mixture of fear and expectation. Do not forget the adversary, God instructed, his words filled with solemn weight. Satan roams the earth, seeking whom he may devour. He is a gale that brings forth the storm, yet I have allowed him a measure of power under my sovereign hand. Through this, my glory shall be magnified. Job shuddered at the thought of the accuser, his previous tribulations flashing before him like a tempest. Why, Lord? Why permit such a one to tread upon the soil of your creation? Surely his intentions are only ruin. Listen, my beloved servant, the Lord replied, his voice a calming balm amidst the turmoil. It is through the trial and tribulation that the faithful arise, as silver is purified in the fire. In your suffering, a testimony is forged that will echo across generations. The designs of Satan serve a purpose in my grand tapestry. As this understanding began to weave itself into the fabric of Job's mind, he felt an awakening within his spirit. So, the adversary is but a tool to reveal your greater glory? Job pondered aloud, seeking to grasp the full weight of the revelation. Even he, in his wickedness, cannot thwart your plans? Indeed, Job, the Lord assured him. The darkness cannot extinguish the light. In every attack, I shall provide a way of escape, and through your resilience, many will see my hand at work. Trust that there exists a divine strategy that transcends human comprehension in eternal battle in which you are not alone, but rather a vital part. Job's heart swelled with a mix of courage and humility. Then I will stand unwavering, O Lord. I will not falter in the face of this tormentor, he declared, his voice steady with newfound conviction. For your glory shall be my strength. Even now, I am crafting something beautiful from the ashes of despair, came the Lord's reply, gentle yet firm. Know that each tear you shed waters the soil of hope, where faith shall bloom anew. Your endurance will serve as a beacon, guiding the lost into the light of my truth. And then, a great stillness enveloped the land, and the heavens held their breath, as if awaiting the unfolding of something magnificent. Job felt the weight of God's promise settle upon him like a mantle, a shield against the uncertainties that lay ahead. With fervor igniting within him, he resolved to endure. In the depth of his heart, he sensed the truth unfurling this trial was but a moment in the vast narrative of God's eternal plan. Yet, he mused quietly, what of those who choose not to see your hand? How do they find the path amid the storms? Ah, Job, God responded, a hint of joyful sorrow in his tone. This hour brings testing, yes, but within it lies an invitation to come near. For those with hardened hearts shall find their fate in the choices they make, while the soft-hearted shall glean revelation even in the fiercest gale. Prepare, for I shall unveil my perfect will through your struggle. With a fresh conviction coursing through his veins, Job lifted his eyes to the horizon, where light continued to pour forth like a cascading river. Hidden within the brightness lingered mysteries, a sacred truth waiting to be revealed. What greater insight lay ahead in this divine drama? As Job stood on the precipice of hope, he knew the dawn was just beginning, signaling a transformation woven through every trial. The stage was set for a revelation of celestial proportions, waiting to resound in a chorus of faith, a call to walk steadfastly even as shadows lingered close. And it came to pass that as Job stood in the burgeoning light of dawn, renewed in spirit, he turned his eyes once more toward the heavens. The canopy of blue was stretching, vibrant and alive, as if the Lord himself was painting with strokes of divine grace. "Your words, O Lord," Job began, his heart aflame with resolve, "give me strength, yet I am aware of the trials that still lie ahead. What of my friends who come to comfort me? Shall they understand this celestial truth? Will they see the divine hand at work in my anguish?" "Fear not, Job," the Lord assured him, his voice like the whisper of a gentle breeze. "For I have placed upon you the mantle of testimony. Those who seek the truth shall find it, but oftentimes, the blind remain blinded by their own understanding. I shall use your suffering to open the eyes of the faithful and even the wayward." As he pondered, Job felt a stirring within him, a longing to share this revelation, to pour out the depth of his soul so that others may know the hope that seems so elusive in the midst of despair. "Then I shall speak, O Lord. I will declare your goodness even amidst my pain. For if my trials serve a greater purpose, I must share the weight of this knowledge with those I love." "Indeed, proclaim my glory," the Lord responded, a richness in his tone that filled the air with purpose. "Let your heart speak forth the truth that is sown within it. Your voice will resonate with those in need of hope, and through your testimony, the hardened hearts may yet soften." With great fervor, Job ascended upon the mound of the earth, seeking not only solace but the strength to endure and share his burdens. His friends, Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite, were still drawn near, eyes weary yet filled with concern. "Why, O Job, do your words become so fervent?" Eliphaz questioned, peering into the depths of Job's eyes. "Is it within your trials that you found wisdom?" "It is true," Job declared, his voice echoing like a proclamation upon the wind. "Through the sorrows that weigh heavy on my spirit, I have glimpsed a profound truth. The Lord is with me not merely in comfort but in purpose. This adversity is both a challenge and a revelation, a divine dance wherein my suffering serves to etch deeper understanding upon the fabric of our existence." His friends exchanged glances, their countenances a tapestry of confusion and intrigue, for their hearts were still encased in human wisdom. "Be mindful, Job," Bildad cautioned gently. "For it is the righteous who prosper, and we must seek the reason for your affliction. Surely, there must be sin hidden in the shadows." Job raised his voice, defiance mingling with courage. "No longer will I dwell upon such notions. My Redeemer lives, and I shall stand in testimony of his faithfulness. For even in the depths of despair, there is a hand guiding us through the wilderness. This trial is a gift, a carving of character meant to illuminate our path. Let us not cast aside our wisdom for fervor," Zophar interjected, though doubts began to stir within him. Yet Job continued, fervently proclaiming, "It is the revelations in our pain that shall clear the fog of understanding. The light has pierced my darkness, and within it is the promise that God is orchestrating all things for a greater good." And as Job spoke, the winds of change rustled through the very fabric of their conversation, each word a seed of faith sown into the hearts of his companions. In that moment, they could feel the weight of something sacred lingering in the air, a divine plan interwoven with threads of suffering and grace. But little did Job know that soon a deeper unveiling awaited, the threads of his suffering tied not merely to a moment, but to a legacy that would redefine hope for generations to come. For hidden within the currents of his tribulations lay a revelation that would echo through time, revealing the fullness of God's sovereign plan. And it came to pass that as Job stood resolute, his heart ablaze with the truth of the Lord, a heaviness still lingered among his companions, each struggling to comprehend the transformation unfolding before their very eyes. "Pray tell, Job," said Eliphaz, emboldened by a hope kindled by Job's fervent declaration, "how is it that you can hold such faith amidst this tempest? Is there no bitterness that stirs within your soul?" "Indeed," Job replied, his voice steady yet deep with emotion, "bitterness is a tempest that seeks to drown the spirit, yet in my seeking, I have found a tide of grace that can cleanse even the most desolate shores. For I know the Lord walks with me, even amid suffering, shaping me into what he desires." Zophar's brow furrowed further as he exclaimed, "How can you say such things when misfortune clings to you like the shadows of night? Surely, we must unearth the cause of this calamity. For in our understanding lies our strength." Job looked upon his friends, his heart tender toward their fears. "Brothers, hear me, for knowing the source of our trials is not as vital as recognizing the hand that guides us through them. Must I remind you of the faithful Job, the servant whose steadfastness in trial captured the attention of both men and angels?" Bildad interjected, "But who can claim pure righteousness? There are none. If we are weighed in the balance, we shall falter. In seeking answers, we reveal our hearts, even the dark corners that cause despair." Job stood tall, his spirit unmoved by their declarations. "Behold, my affliction is not a curse but a canvas upon which the Lord paints his mercies. He is using my ashes to reveal beauty. Can you not see the divine purpose, even in the depths of my suffering?" In that moment, the wind rustled through the trees, carrying whispers of ancient truths. A heavy silence enveloped them, as nature might pause to listen to such profound utterances. Job's friends looked upon him, their hearts slowly thawing in the warmth of his faith. Yet suddenly, from the distance came an echo, a shadow creeping over their gathering. A voice, dark yet alluring, reached their ears, a soft mocking that serpent-like slithered into the thoughts of their minds. "What is this faith, Job? Your suffering reveals not a divine plan but the cracks in your piety. You remain an empty vessel, declaring light in your darkness." Job's chest tightened, yet he stood undeterred. "Who speaks such lies? I stand upon the truth of my Redeemer. Though my skin may be ravaged and my heart rent asunder, there is a promise awaiting. Shall I allow the tempter to sway my heart into doubt?" And within that moment of fierce declaration, his heart yearned for understanding. "What role does the adversary play in this divine plan, my God? What is it that he hopes to extinguish, where you have chosen to illuminate?" "Ah, Job," the Lord spoke, his voice reverberating through the winds, "the tempter seeks only to sow discord, yet I use every ounce of their wickedness to forge you anew. Know this: the trials bestowed upon you are not the end but the beginning of an unveiling, a sacred metamorphosis where the silver linings will outshine the shadows." And as these words settled within Job, the frailty of his circumstances began to fade, revealing something more profound, the promise that his trials were not in vain, but part of the fabric woven into the tapestry of redemption for all generations. Yet, unbeknownst to Job, the adversary would stir once more, seeking to twist his resolve. And lurking just at the edges were forces eager to unravel the truth that was beginning to take root. For as God's glory shone in the midst of suffering, the true depth of his sovereign plan was still hidden, waiting to emerge, a legacy yet unfolding through the soul of a man steadfast in faith, destined to echo through the ages. And as the dawn broke with brilliant light over the land of Uz, the presence of the Lord enveloped Job, illuminating his heart with a divine revelation that transcended all trials and tribulations. "Job," the Almighty declared, "your faith has led you to this moment, a crossroads where despair gives way to triumph. You have witnessed the depths of suffering, yet in that suffering, you have unearthed a treasure of understanding." Job, once again caught in awe of God's grandeur, felt the wave of divine grace wash over him. No longer was he merely a man stripped of earthly possessions. He had become a vessel of hope, a testimony of resilience and faith for all generations to behold. With each revelation bestowed upon him, his spirit rose like the phoenix from the ashes of despair. "Your trials have not been lost to the void, but rather woven into the very fabric of my redemptive plan," God continued, his voice resonant and full of tender authority. "Through your endurance, you have become the beacon, the light for others who wander in darkness, seeking salvation through your unwavering trust in me." Job's heart swelled with a new purpose, for he understood now that his suffering held a greater significance than he had ever conceived. No longer did he view his afflictions as burdens to bear, but as the very means by which God would illuminate hope in the hearts of those who would one day hear his story. With this truth came a lightness of spirit, a renewed strength to stand before his friends who yet struggled to fathom the depths of his faith. Friends, Job called out, his voice steady and filled with compassion, the journey we traverse together speaks not merely of hardship but of divine endorsement. Each trial, each shadow of sorrow beckons us to seek the light. I have learned to trust not only in the blessings but in the lessons born from pain. As he spoke, the three friends were transfixed, their eyes now open to the profound truth unfolding in their midst. They began to feel the stirrings of conviction in their hearts, and their skepticism gave way to the possibility of faith. Job, your words reveal a wisdom we have yet to grasp, Eliphaz spoke, his voice trembling. Perhaps in our attempts to seek answers, we have overlooked the beauty God orchestrates through your suffering. Bildad nodded, tears glistening in his eyes. It is true, your enduring spirit invites us into a deeper understanding of God's grace. May your testimony testify not only to us but to generations yet born. Zophar, moved to humility, added, let us seek to see the hand of God in all his dealings, not only in our understanding but in your remarkable perseverance. Job, you are a living testament to divine faithfulness. Job's heart resonated with joy as he gazed upon his friends and felt the burdens of bitterness lift from their hearts. With their understanding deepening, the adversary, once a looming shadow in his mind, lost its grip, for Job knew now that God used all things to work for good. Then, the Lord spoke once more. Gaze upon the horizon, Job, for all that you have endured will yield a harvest of blessings. Your wealth shall be restored, your family healed, for my love abounds in the face of adversity. Each trial you faced was not in vain but was part of a greater tapestry of restoration. And in that moment, the burden of doubt and fear melted away as Job beheld the splendor of God's promises unfurling before him like the morning sun dispelling the last vestiges of night. Job arose from the ground, having wrestled with God and emerged victorious, a storm in his soul transformed into a peaceful sea. Thus, the Lord doubled Job's former blessings, restoring his fortunes and granting him twice as much as he had lost. Joy filled his household once more as 7 new sons and 3 daughters were born, and laughter echoed through his home, a testament to God's covenantal faithfulness. Job's friends returned, accompanied by others eager to hear how the Lord had indeed magnified his name through Job's trials. They brought him gifts of silver and gold, a tangible expression of their newfound faith and appreciation for the lesson wrought from his suffering. With profound gratitude, Job declared, the Lord has given me beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, and praise instead of despair. Blessed be the name of the Lord who has turned my weeping into dancing. And it was in that moment the threads of Job's suffering intertwined fiercely with the fabric of divine purpose, forever etched in the annals of history as proof of God's redemptive work. For generations to come, his story became a beacon of hope, proclaiming that even in the darkest of nights, dawn will surely break, revealing the pervasive goodness and glory of God. As time marched on, Job matured in the knowledge of God's ways. He learned that suffering was not the end, but a canvas that God painted with miraculous grace. He found joy in sharing his journey, inviting each soul weary from their burdens to cast their cares upon the one who binds up the brokenhearted. And now, dear brothers and sisters, as you reflect on this sacred testimony, I urge you subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next powerful biblical stories that speak to our hearts. Leave a like now to help spread God's word through the algorithm, for his truth must reach every corner of the earth. Comment your spiritual reflections. Let us know how this biblical story impacted your faith journey, as your thoughts are an echo of God's work in our lives. And don't wait even one more second, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who urgently need to hear God's truth. For we are called to be witnesses to the goodness of the Lord, and together we can bring hope where despair has taken root. Stand firm in your faith, for every trial is a gift, a chance to see His glory arise in our lives.